My name is Right Honorable Ozo Azubike, Commissioner for Agriculture, Abia State. The most important need of man, is food. Agriculture readily comes to play as the alternative means of producing wealth, generating food, generating employment, and sustaining the economy of Nigeria. The importance of agriculture today is that it is the means for the diversification of the economy of Nigeria. As it is today, agriculture is one of the 5 pillars of the Okezikpeazu administration in Nigeria, which aim is to achieve, first, internal food security, making sure that there is surplus food in Nigeria, generate employment for our teeming youth, and generate wealth for the running and upkeep of the state. It was seen as an occupation for people who were not educated. It was left to the poor, and the government never really invested in it. These were the challenges of agriculture. But now that Nigeria does not seem to have any alternative than to go back to agriculture, those problems have to be addressed frontally. And so in Abia State, having resolved to make agriculture an alternative, a major source of our income and sustenance of our economy, we are approaching it from the perspective of, first, diversification of the economy, and second, diversification of agriculture itself. What do we mean by that? By diversification of agriculture, we move away from those old practices of knife and hoe, embrace mechanization, use of agro equipment, and this we have procured in Abia State, by no means in enough quantities, but we have shown our people the way we want to go through mechanization, procurement of earth-moving equipments for land preparation so that it doesn't need to be done manually, tractors and all that. And we look at the quality of agro input, the seedlings our people used to plant before now. It was in an unorganized manner that we used the traditional, very low-yielding varieties, and now consciously sensitize our people as a matter of principle and policy on the proper input to use. And to achieve that, government goes out of its way, not only to sensitize our people on the availability of those agro inputs, but also to procure them and put them readily on the doorstep at the farm gates, of the farmers. And so government now goes into planned management of the land resources by acquiring land where available from those who have the land and may not have the need for it, and now managing the land in organized manner such that farmers will get land in clusters, developed in clusters, to enable them access the various windows that are available for the practice of agriculture. The result today is that we can boast of food stability within the state, and those who practice farming today can be confident that agriculture can be business and not just something you do for subsistence. It has become a profitable venture. People may not have noticed that 1 liter of red oil is a lot more costly and more profitable than petroleum, which diverted our attention. And the government has created enabling environment through the one-stop shop system and other policies that make it easy for anybody who is interested to invest in Abia State to come into Abia, get your land. The communities are very friendly. All the host communities in Abia State are very friendly. And we have the labor, the workforce, that are willing to work in any farm estate in Abia State. And our topography also, the natural arrangement of our land makes it so easy for mechanization, and that is why so many investors have already come in the area of cassava farming. We have two major investors in cassava. We have investors in oil palm development. All our palm estates that were previously abandoned, done in the 60s and abandoned today, have been revived and handed over to various investors. And so Abia this year has gone into mass rice production through three initiatives. One through the Fadama initiative, where the state has already sourced through the Fadama 3 additional finance program over 2 billion naira made available to rice farmers as grant, and through the Anchor Brewers program, where we have also registered over 5,000 rice farmers who are now given the proper variety of seedlings and other inputs to cultivate rice, and then through the governor's direct accelerated rice production initiative. Everybody in Abia today prides himself as a farmer. There is nobody in Abia today who doesn't have one kind of small farm in any part of the state. The transformation and changes we have achieved in agriculture within this regime of Dr. Ibazo have been most tremendous. You may not know that in Abia, and this is the only state where at a time we've been able to raise a nursery, a palm nursery of 2 million tenera seedlings at a time. It has never happened anywhere in Nigeria. In development of the 2 million seedlings for last year alone, we utilized over 2,000 staff on ad hoc basis, youths, women, students, and all that, after which we now maintain a regular maintenance team of about 200 staff. We have the Abia State Poultry Village or Poultry Cluster, which is a concept by which we are developing 3 poultry clusters in the state, one in each of the 3 geopolitical zones. In each of the clusters, we are developing 200 poultry pens of various capacities, 500, 1,000, 2,000. That is what we have in the scheme. There is no poultry pen that will not need at least 4 persons to work in it. You have 2,400 people that are directly involved in that. And then you talk about the indirect employment that will be generated from those who provide the feed, who provide food for those people working in that place, then the processing and all that go with it. You find out that you will have less than 10,000 people being employed directly and indirectly through those poultry villages. Those who want to go into farming, they do not have land, can come to the Ministry of Agriculture, and we make available to them lands on the various estates already acquired by government. To the glory of God also, in collaboration with the federal government, we have already completed the building of the poultry processing plant that will ensure that the value is added, and whatever surplus we produce in Abia State can be packaged and sold beyond Abia State. And those who want to wear their white decently and go to the farm can now go into mushroom production. These are the various things we have done to encourage our youth to stop carrying files and certificates patrolling the street, go to the farm, produce food, and make wealth. Because it's on record that the richest people all over the world are farmers. In 2016, we raised 2 million seedlings, and that is an unbeaten record in Nigeria. By year 2019, Abia would have planted over 7.5 million tenera palm seedlings. Abia, God's own state, the land here was created for agriculture.
My name is Ikechi Mboji. I am currently the Commissioner for Education, Abia State. When we came in on board, we met some problems on ground. Not to say that some things hadn't been done well, but there were obviously some challenges we met when we came on board. The most obvious was the dilapidation in school infrastructure. It was obvious that a lot needed to be done. In many of the schools, particularly in the remote areas, the school buildings had collapsed. There was also the engagement of civil society from participating in schools. So these were some of the challenges we met when we assumed office, but we weren't deterred by those challenges. We set to work immediately. With respect to the issue of dilapidation of schools, government alone cannot fix all the whole schools in the state. There just simply isn't the money there. So what we did was to call a meeting, several meetings actually, of the various stakeholders in the state. We spoke to teachers, we spoke to parents, we talked to the pupils, we engaged with various communities and made them realize that the school belongs to each and every one of us. The schools do not belong just to government. There was also the problem of extortion by various bodies. You have cases of teachers or head teachers charging all kinds of levies from the pupils, or demanding for various kinds of articles by way of homework and the like. We felt that that was wrong. We said we were going to eliminate most of those illegal levies, which we succeeded in doing. But more importantly, we were able to raise quite an appreciable sum of money, with which we fixed, I think, 32 schools across the length and breadth of Abia State. We refurbished 32 secondary schools, changed the roofs, did the whole fence and the like. We also sank, I think, 16 boreholes. We did various toilets in many schools, more than 40 toilets. I mean, what gives me so much joy about this was that we did all this without imposing any levy on anybody, but simply by reducing the level of extortion and rechanneling those resources to something much more meaningful. So we've been able to reduce the issue of dilapidation of our schools. And we've done all this without Abia State giving up or ceding its #1 position as the best performing state when it comes to WAEC exams. If you look at the history of education in Nigeria as a whole, what you find is that when the British came here, they weren't really interested in training technical and artisanal workers. Their preference was to train clerks, people who could read, write memos and transcribe things for them. And the governor said no, that we needed to rethink how the educational system in this country works, that we needed to start training people who can fix things, people who can repair things. So the idea now gave rise to what we now know as the Education for Employment Program. The E4E program is a unique thing which we've done here in Abia, and it's received accolades from various parts of the country. So that, in my opinion, is one of the most profound achievements that this government has recorded, despite the numerous challenges we faced when we came on board. In many parts of the world, where you find a university, you find about 3, 4, 5 similar institutions. And they have now a critical mass, because they offer that level of sophistication, they have that level of diversity. So virtually everybody who wants that kind of education or that kind of service goes there. So it's actually an emerging phenomenon as I speak, that private investors are actually coming into Abia State to invest in education. If you go to Uturu, you have Gregory University too, which is just a few miles away from Abia State University. So Abia State does provide enormous potential for investment in the education sector, be it at the secondary school level or the tertiary level. We've been able to partner with some private investors. In fact, as I speak, we have someone who has come in from the US. They want to take over, I think, Railway Halt Primary School in Abia. The idea is to build a world-class, primary and secondary school in that place. We also have a proposal by another group of investors who want to turn the place known as Township Primary School into a world-class technical secondary school. So there are numerous opportunities here in the state for private persons, private stakeholders to come in, invest their resources, and have a meaningful return on investment. I would say that we've done pretty well, considering the distractions we've had, the challenges of funding and the like. I think we've done pretty well. But I am sure that in the next 12 months, if Abians are already happy with what the ministry has done, they will be a lot happier with what we intend to achieve. If you are to look at the number of schools we have repaired, for example, we've done 32 schools, we've done 16 boreholes, we've done over 50 toilets. That, in my own estimation, would have at least pumped in nothing less than 200 million naira into the economy of this state, and it's created quite an interesting number of jobs by way of those who did the repair jobs, the carpenters, the laborers, the masons, and the like, the architects, and that kind of thing. Then in terms of the private schools, which we regulate, which is probably the highest in this country, that again numbers in the thousands that are gainfully employed under the private school system. So despite the fact that this is actually a service ministry, one could say that with respect to job creation, that we have contributed our own fair bit. My message to the people of Abia and to Nigerians in general is that invest in the education of a child. If you invest in the education of a child, you've invested in the future of that child, you've invested in the future of this state, you've invested in the future of this country.
My name is John Chigozie Ahokana, and I am the current Honorable Commissioner for Health in Abia State of Nigeria. Health, they say, is wealth. Clearly, a healthy individual would contribute to the economy of the environment in which he does occupy. If I may start with what my experience here, was when once I started 18 months ago. Clearly, I found a system where the people had near absolute lack of confidence in the government health facilities because the staffers were not there. The tools to do the job were actually in decrepit and very dilapidated conditions. And then, of course, the staff were very low morale and needing a change of, the way they see things. And so those were the initial problems that I did see. And then, of course, some of our indices, health indices, maternal mortality, infant mortality indices were at best plateaued off rather than, getting better. I know that when I came on board 18 months ago, there were well over 710 primary health care centers, most of which were actually not working. Now, there is a group, they call themselves East Coast Medical Group, also coming from the US. And this group is interested in investing and turning it into an organ transplant center. So you can have your kidney transplant, your heart transplant, and all that. It can happen. Again, in Umuahia here, the yet another group, who are associated with the World Bank, want to come in and invest in our amateur specialist hospital, and they want to use it as an urgent care center. All they want to do is deal with emergencies. And by the way, this keys into what we have already started in Abia State. The MTN Foundation has also built 4 brand new maternal and child wards in Owaza, in Absut, in Bualangwa, and here in Umuahia. At the tertiary level, we've gotten our medical schools re-accredited to train doctors. And most recently, our departments of obstetrics and gynecology and our departments of surgery have been reaccredited by the postgraduate medical college. So we can train postgraduate doctors, because we need to train the manpower to be able to run our facilities. Our health indicators, maternal mortality index, infant mortality rates, and all that are all, pointing in the very positive direction. I know that our HIV prevalence rate in Abia has actually dropped from the previous 7.9 to 3.7. What I can tell you is that all these projects that are going on simultaneously are actually indirectly creating jobs. Obviously, yes, the governor has given waivers, and then very soon we will be engaging specialized staff, because we know that there are areas of need that need to be filled in the health world. I tell you one thing, I think the goal of our health-loving governor, Okezi Ikpeazu, is to turn Abia State into a medical tourism destination in Nigeria and the West African sub-region. We know that journey is not going to be easy, because we believe that a 100 miles journey begins with the first mile, but we are goaled towards achieving that, and we have started. Come join us, and come and we'll give you care in Abia State. Abia is moving forward. Come join us.
I hope you've enjoyed watching this documentary. It is my belief also that you must have made up your mind about what kind of business you want to do with us in Abia. I assure you that I'll welcome you with open hands personally when you come to Abia.